Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Allison, and this is the Big Idea, Big Moves podcast. This is the destination for high performers. We talk to people from different areas, different genres, different niches, people doing really cool things in whatever their area of expertise is, and hopefully take away some of those things that you can use in your lives. We talk to athletes, we talk to CEOs, we talk to scientists, we talk to people just doing really cool things in their space. And today we do have one of those guests. Just before we jump into that, though, one of the things that a lot of our guests talk about, because there are some real kind of goal setters and people who do journaling and all those things. We've looked around and found a really cool resource called Gym Gypsy, which obviously helps you track things about your own kind of your skill work, your strength work, all those things in the gym. But it also talks a little bit about your why and helping track some of that along with it at the same time. It's definitely worth a look. Go on to our Instagram, and if you go into our bio, you'll see a link there. You can get 20% off if you'd like. Take a look at it. Again, it's Gym Gypsy, and thank you for their support of the podcast as well. And so today I'm really excited, and this is actually a second time we're connecting, but Victoria Bach is a member of this year's IIHF World gold medal winning Canadian women's hockey team. She's one of the young stars that they added to the team ahead of next year's Olympics, and she was a standout at Boston University before that. She holds records, from what I understand, in all-time goals, points, most goals in a single season, most points in a single season. She's the first woman in the program history to reach 100 goals, and that's ahead of her, the captain from her current kind of Team Canada, Marie-Philip Poulin. And she starred on the CWHL's Markham Thunder as a rookie, and is now part of the PWHPA as well, and has been involved in the Dream Gap Tour games there as well. So we were talking just before we kind of came onto the podcast, Victoria, the last time we talked, it was kind of right at the very start of when everything was being locked down, and we talked a bit about how you were staying active and staying connected. But now you're a IIHF World Champion, and that goes beside your name now. So how cool is that as a new thing on your resume?
Yeah, it has honestly been an incredible year. I mean, from 800 days ago was the last time that we played, at a world championship stage. So to be able to actually compete and get to play in the world championships was just something that was so special. Like, we've waited so long, we've trained for so long, and for it to finally be there and for us to get the win was honestly one of the moments that I will never forget in my life. We're still celebrating. It was just an overall great experience for me.
Well, and the way it ended, which is, I mean, people will know if they follow women's hockey, they know that the USA Canada kind of rivalry, and it's all of the games are always very tight, and this one was no exception. How was that for you to be involved in that, especially considering you probably saw some of those rivalries growing up as well? How cool is it to be part of it?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to wear the jersey and, represent your country and wear the maple leaf, it's just such an honor. And, this being my first world championships, I was just really excited going into it, kind of with an open mind, and just really looking to grow as a player and also get the chance to compete. And I think, as an athlete, as a hockey player playing for Team Canada, you really look for those games against the US. I mean, they're our biggest rivals. And I knew going into that game that it was going to be a great game. It was going to be a battle, and it was going to be a fight. And I was just really confident in our group. And we had such an amazing, group of girls going into this world championship, such a tight knit group. And going into that final game, I mean, we were down, we came back, and we won in overtime. And the sequence of events was just something so special for us. We worked so hard, and it was just overall a great experience. And I'm happy that we got to win the gold medal.
Yeah, it's quite the story through the game, which was pretty cool. But the other side is you mentioned there about how you came together as a team, and this has been a very different year where you kind of haven't been able to be together a whole lot before this. So how did that happen? Like, how is it that you connected so well with the rest of the team?
I think all of us just really were holding each other accountable. And the days that we weren't together as a group, we all have small training hubs. And I know for me, I was training in Toronto at a gym called Grit we had a group of around 8 girls. So we were always pushing each other. And I know there was different circumstances in different hubs. Some people were only allowed to skate with 1 to 4 people on the ice at a time. So I think we just really all pushed each other and made the most of every opportunity that we got to be together and step on the ice together. And I also think it was really special that we got to come together before the World Championships. We were together for around 2 weeks, so we were competing, we were playing inter squad games, and just really getting to know each other as a team, building chemistry. I think that was really important in helping us be successful.
Now, you and a few other of the younger or newer members of that team really, broke out a lot, I think, in this as well. How was that as being one of those younger players and being able to play with like, Marie-Philip Poulin and some of those people who, have been an icon for a while on that team? What's that experience like to learn from them at the same time?
Yeah, for me growing up, like I really looked up to Marie-Philip Poulin. I played with her at Boston University for a year.
Yeah.
I got to play sometimes with her on the power play, things like that. But to actually get to play on a line with her and Brianne Jenner, both two incredible leaders and just really role models in our game. It was really special for me. And I remember still putting on the jersey for the very first game of the World Championships and kind of just looking around. And I was like, wow, this is like my dream. Like I've always wanted to play in a World Championships and especially playing alongside two of my favorite players. So I think it was really special and I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot and grew as a player. So it was
Yeah.
a great experience for me.
Very cool. And right now you are, you're kind of doing some transitions. You're in Calgary right now, so there's no real kind of rest in between. That was like a pretty short amount of time. You didn't even get to really revel in it too much, and then you're off doing other things. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I think one door closes and a new chapter begins. So for us, we actually all just moved into our houses in Calgary to be centralized for the year for the Olympics, and we actually started up today. So this is our first day of centralization. So as exciting and as it was to win a World Championships, we had a nice week off and we got to celebrate and relax. But like I said, now our new journey begins and it starts today. We got to train hard every single day and in hopes to, make the Olympic team and go to Beijing. So I'm really excited for the opportunity to be centralized. And like I said, we're going to start training today and in hopes that I can get a spot on the roster.
Yeah, yeah. And now you go to university as well too, right? Like how does that work for you when you've got this stuff and because I think you go to Queen's, am I right? Is that
Yeah, so I'm actually taking my master's of education at
yeah,
Queen's right now,
yeah,
and I'm allowed to take like a semester off. So
yeah,
I'm going to take a semester off until after centralization, and then kind of go from there. Which is nice that the program gives us the ability to do that,
yeah.
because I really want to focus on hockey. I mean, this is like the goal that I've had since I was a little kid. So
Sure.
I'm here to kind of leave it all out on the line and really just focus on hockey.
Yeah. And so there, one of the things that I know from your background is that you're not a big hockey player. I mean, you're 5'3", 5'4", somewhere thereabouts, I think. And that's probably been something that has maybe been brought up a few times, I would assume, as you've gone through building your career. Has that, I guess, first of all, been something that comes up, and was that a motivator for you in getting to where you are?
Yeah, for sure. I think growing up, something that's always kind of, that some adversity that I've had to face is my size and being a smaller player. I've always had to make sure that I'm in the gym getting stronger, or working on areas of my game that I can compete with the, bigger, faster girls, making sure that I use my speed and different things like that. I mean, growing up, I've always been told that, I was too small and, you're not going to make it anywhere because of your height. I've heard comments like that growing up, but I think for me, it's just kind of a motivation factor, making sure that I am strong enough to play at that level. And, I am working on areas of my game because I'm smaller. And I think it kind of runs in my family. So my dad actually played hockey as well, and he was a smaller player growing up. So I've really looked to him for a lot of advice, and he's helped me out along the way, just with knowing how to play as a smaller player and how to use it to your advantage.
And I think most people would assume, you started playing hockey when you were, 3 or 4, like you hear all the time. And from my understanding, you started a little later than that, and are where you are at a young age. Is that something that you talk about with people and that they know that you started a little later than some people did?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually involved with some coaching, and I think the one thing I say to people is it's never too late to start. I mean, hockey, I fell in love with the game when I was around 7 years old, like the first time I stepped on the ice. And I started hockey pretty late compared to all of my peers. I was really into soccer at the time, playing a lot of soccer. And
Mhm.
when I switched over to hockey, like I knew this was going to be the game that I was going to love. Like every time I stepped on the ice, I would just have a smile on my face, cheek to cheek. But
Yeah.
I think, it doesn't matter what age that you start at. Really what matters is the work ethic. I mean, as much as you want, as hard as you work, you're gonna see results. And I think that's so important. Like for me, starting at 7 years old, I was outside on the outdoor rink having to play catch up, but it's
Yeah.
something that I really loved. And if you're really passionate about something, you can really achieve anything that you want if you put your mind to it.
And you obviously kind of set goals for yourself when but you do obviously, if you're going into school and you're going for your master's now and things like that, there's some real balance that you have to figure out there too. How do you juggle that yourself? I know it's a little different right now because you're going to be so focused, but maybe for the last couple of years, how did you manage doing training and also doing schooling and things like that?
I think for me, it's really important to kind of get into like a routine, I like to say. I'm a pretty organized person. I actually like to journal, have an agenda. So I'll write everything down, kind of just spacing out your day. I also think it's important to make like checklists of the most important things that you need to do in your day. But also it's really important to save time for yourself and save time, for fun and to have fun with your friends and family. I think it's really important to make sure that you have a fair balance. And that's something that I always ensure that I do, is making time for, friends and things outside of sports and school. I think the most important thing, like I mentioned, is having balance and, just being organized, and even creating a routine can be really helpful for some people.
And you mentioned that you do some coaching, and I know that you do a lot in mentoring other people. Considering, especially I think being in women's sports, that's plays a huge role. And how are you doing that? And what does that give you, I guess, being able to kind of mentor other young girls?
Yeah, I think coaching is something that's in my passion, and just teaching. And eventually, when I'm done hockey, I would love to be a school teacher, an elementary school teacher. So it's something that I really enjoy doing. And I honestly just love giving back. And it's a lot of fun. Like I've been coaching some young girls teams. I've been coaching with some of the boys teams. And I think what's so rewarding about coaching is just seeing, the young players grow and succeed. I mean, it's something that's so rewarding, and it's also a lot of fun too. Hockey's my passion, and I just really enjoy giving back.
Yeah, and who did are there specific people that played that role for you when you were younger? Like, do you recall there being one or two people that really kind of impacted you that way?
I think I've had several coaches, growing up, or development coaches that have really impacted me. And I think for me, actually, I never really had much female mentors in my hockey career. I think I
Hmm.
had my first female coach was when I played junior hockey. My very first year playing junior in Oakville, there was a coach named Brady Cochran. She was my first female coach that I had. But growing up, there's been a lot of, mentors to me. And one coach that kind of stands out to me is actually Steve Abrams. And it's kind of a cool story because growing up, he was one of my first coaches, and he always really believed in me and, being a smaller player. And he always told me like, keep working hard, and always believed in, what I had to offer. And it's kind of a cool story now because he actually just moved to Calgary a couple years ago. And now that I'm in Calgary, I reached out to him, and it's just really cool to be able to reconnect. And he was able to come watch all of the World Championships games. So
Oh,
that's
no
something
way.
that's really special. And he's had a pretty big impact on my career. And he actually, one time at a rink, it's a pretty cool story. I found a coin on the ground, and I brought it to him, and I was like, look, this is going to be our lucky coin. And he kept that lucky coin, like he still had it in his wallet. And when I came to Calgary and saw him, he still had the lucky coin. So
Wow.
pretty cool story. And
And a famous coin now. So
uh, yeah,
I'm sure he's going to tell that story for a long time now. So
for sure, for sure. You definitely can't lose
it
that.
won't come out of his wallet, I'm sure.
No,
So
no.
so one of the other things that I know that people may or may not know about you is that you have an Indigenous background, and I think in the last little while you've really kind of tried to really kind of connect with that a lot. And maybe kind of two questions is one, just how have you gone about doing that for yourself, and then also are there things that you've really connected with, I guess, as part of that?
Yeah, for me, I think it's super important. My grandmother was a Mohawk First Nation. She grew up in Tynedega, and for me, she actually passed away 3 years ago now. And for me, she was a big role model to me, and just hearing the stories that she's went through throughout her life, and just the battles that she's faced. And I think for me, it's really important to educate myself, make sure I'm educating others. And I'm actually right now involved in an organization called ProPacs.
Mhm.
And so it's a nonprofit organization. And what we do is we give back by giving presentations to the youth. We do different engagements with them. And I think it's really important for me to work with these Indigenous communities to educate myself and help give back, and also help inspire them and let them know that, they can really do whatever they want if they put their mind to it. And I think that's something that's really important to me.
Yeah, that's very cool, and something that I think is obviously has a huge impact outside of what you do just in hockey. That's very cool. So one of the other things is that you would mention that you're kind of jumping kind of right into orientation stuff. What does that mean? Like, to anybody else knowing, okay, what do you do at an Olympic orientation? Just what generally does that look like for you? Like, what's your days look like?
So today is the first day of Olympic centralization. So
Yeah.
it's our orientation. So basically today is a full media day.
Yeah.
So we're going to the rink and a bit here, and we'll be doing some interviews. We'll be doing some pictures, and just basically, yeah, I think a lot of media stuff will be happening today.
Yeah.
And then starting tomorrow, actually, we have our first practice. So we'll have our first practice as a group for centralization, kind of open up centralization.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a workout session after. And I think that's kind of what it's going to look like for the next 2 weeks here, just building into centralization. We'll be doing a lot of practices and training, and then we'll start getting into some games. So we'll play games against some guys' teams, and play in a couple series. And I think that's when the games will start beginning in a couple weeks from now. So
Yeah.
I'm just really excited for that.
I bet. And things are getting closer. I mean, people, it's weird to think that it's getting close, but it is. So
So
that's
close.
great.
Yeah, I can't believe it's already September. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, I'm not going to take you too long, because I literally, to everybody there, they know that Victoria's done a great job kind of squeezing this interview in before she kind of runs off to do that stuff. So I appreciate it. If people are trying to follow you, follow what's going on and everything, what are some of the best ways to do that, Victoria?
yeah, they can reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter. Both of my handles are the exact same. It's VBach21. That's VEEBACH 21. So yeah, you can reach out to me. Instagram. I also have LinkedIn as well. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me at any time if you have any questions or anything like that. I'm always around.
Cool, and I'm sure they'll do that. We'll put it in the show notes so that you can connect with Victoria and watch all the great stuff she's going to be going through in the next little while. So that's exciting, I think, for everybody. So again, thanks for taking the time, and good luck over the next little while. I know we'll all be watching.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, and we will talk to everybody again on Big Idea, Big Moves.